What's up, everybody? It is the Best Bot Kid Smooth, and today I am reviewing Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now, as you guys may know, I have a little bias to the Tomb Raider series. I mean, I like them. I like the last two games. I just thought they were amazing. I feel like these games are downplayed. I've been anticipating Shadow of the Tomb Raider to a lesser degree, only because I know the full team at Crystal Dynamics have not been behind this game like they were with the first two games, and I think Adios Montreal had took the reins of this game, and so I was a little bit tamed, a little bit more calmer for this game, and kind of went in there, with an open mind, and hopefully I enjoyed my experience. But I've got through the game, as you can see, and I'm ready to talk about and share my thoughts. How good is Shadow of the Tomb Raider? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, in Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Lara Croft must master a deadly jungle and once again overcome terrifying tombs and persevere through her darkest hour as she races to save the world from the Mayan apocalypse, ultimately becoming the Tomb Raider she is destined to be once again. Alright, so let's talk about the story. Man, Shadow of the Tomb Raider games, at least the last three, the stories haven't been all that important. They've been decent, passable, but nothing that you talk about for years to come. Nothing that's like, oh, this was ultra memorable. This is not going to go into like a museum of storybook gaming. And once again with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it's just decent. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a direct follow-up to the 2015's Rise of the Tomb Raider. You track down Trinity, this time in South America, to once again prevent an apocalypse. Why does everybody want an apocalypse? Why is the end game to end the world? I mean, you wipe everybody out, you wipe yourself out. Just why? Why, Trinity? Why? Shadow of the Tomb Raider story isn't all that interesting and not all that complex. I appreciate what's being done and the characters introduced, even down to the lukewarm and forgettable antagonists. Laura's quest and adventure is more interesting than the main story. The story isn't bad, however, it's not something you'll be talking about a year from now. I mean, it's just passable. The story seems to be the same every time, at least stopping an apocalypse. There's always some insane jerk who wants to redeem power, preaching he's going to change the world when all he really means is harm. And it's up to Laura to raid some tombs, climb some mountains, and screw everything up and get a lot of people killed in the process. But that's pretty much for the story without me really spoiling anything. But let's talk about another important aspect of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and that is the gameplay. The gameplay, which is actually getting a lot of talk. It's very polarizing. You either hate it or you love it. And what does Shadow of the Tomb Raider mean to you as a Tomb Raider fan or just someone who's played the game in the past? So Shadow of the Tomb Raider gameplay is pretty familiar with the last two recent games. The skill tree returns, the ability to upgrade and acquire new weapons. The major change is the pace and the limited action. You're getting a lot of complaints about the action this time around because, yes, the Adios Montreal team has took a more stealthy approach, a more adventure approach. They put the emphasis on raiding tombs and exploring, and it is a beautiful world to explore, but the action has calmed down, has been toned down a bit, and it kind of questions your skill trees and why are you upgrading so many weapons? Because there's some things you'll upgrade to the max and you'll probably actually never use, which is pretty interesting. So, like I said before, the major change is the pace. The pace is up and then it's down. It's more of a slower paced game. The action is limited. They focus heavily on exploration and raiding tombs. In a sense, makes sense because this is Tomb Raider, and the game before it was rebooted was all about raiding tombs, finding secrets and treasures and different pathways. And this game excels in that, in just mastering what Tomb Raider or what it's like to raid tombs and go on these epic adventures. It just come at the cost of hand-to-hand combat and gun combat. So the heavy emphasis is on stealth, taking cover, blending in with the mud and vegetation. There is more focus on underwater activity as well. You know, Shadow of the Tomb Raider feels more like an adventure game than it does an action game. In the 28 hours of playing, I've killed only 369 enemies, 108 of those being stealth kills. I mean, this isn't many, there just isn't many action sequences. However, the action sequences that do occur in this game are all above average. At least for me, I think there's some. So finding collectibles and completing the challenge tombs is this game's true high mark. That's what makes this game. The game does offer some social areas and side quests. Talking to the people reveal secrets such as treasures and tomb locations and where to find rare animals. You can get all sorts of stuff by just talking to people, or at least stuff opening up your map by talking to people, because they reveal secrets of the locations that you're exploring at the time. Yeah, the side quests are they're not all that fun. I did some of them. I did not complete them all at the time of this recording of the side quests, but the ones I did do, I found some of them to be long and drawn out, some of them lasting longer than main missions, and it was just really kind of, I don't want to say boring to do. They just weren't fun to do. I didn't have interest in doing it. I just couldn't wait to get through with it so I can start the next, or just get back to the main quest, because the side missions felt like they got in the way. Sure, there is a reason to do them. You are rewarded for doing side quests, and that's just really the main reason to do them, because you do get some special stuff. You get to level up faster, you get skill points, you get cosmetics. There is a nice reward for doing some of these side quests, and of course you unlock achievements and whatnot. It's just that the content of these side quests aren't the game's greatest feat, and they're probably the worst part of the game. Otherwise, I appreciate what you get for doing them, and I guess that's what really kept me doing as much as I did, opposed to really completing all of them, which I will probably go back and do because I'm missing a couple of achievements. So moving on, as far as graphics and sound, there was some talks. There was talks of a downgrade, talks of lack of puddles, or talks of a lack of, not puddles, I'm sorry, that's Spider-Man. Talk of lack of splashes and the water mechanics. And my time with the game, I thought a lot of the stuff presented in this game was very spot on, beautiful. There is a splash that exists when you dive into a water from the highest peak and whatnot. Of course, the water ripples. I mean, the sound of the water itself. I mean, graphically, Shadow of the Tomb Raider doesn't take a backseat to anyone. The shadow casting, sun rays beaming through the trees, mud, dirt, scrapes, and scratches found on Laura during encounters. It's a beautiful game. The HDR helps make things pop. The ability to play at higher resolutions or higher frame rates on enhanced consoles adds more shine and smoothness to the game. Character models aren't as detailed as I like them to be, but they're still exceptional across the board. Shadows offer limited set pieces, but those areas show off some awesome views. The game looks great, especially from areas such as mountain peaks, you know? As far as sound, the voice acting is so-so. I mean, it's great among the main quests and interactions with like Jonah and the antagonists and whatnot. Some side missions, however, the voice acting can be a bit wonky and it feels out of place given the setting that you're in. The sound of the forest appears accurate. Splashes from the water after diving feels all authentic, and I talked about that before. I thought this game does great with the little things, just with the sense of sound, just hearing what's going on around you, whether it be the dialect between people in a crowded area, or just the animals and the birds chirping and the grunts from pigs or growls from jaguars. Everything is just kind of like just there, and it just feels right. And I am enjoying the direction they took this game. So where does Shadow of the Tomb Raider rank? What do I think of it? I mean, is this can I give a positive recommendation for this game? Is this a backlog game? Is this a game you ignore because it's another Tomb Raider? Hell no. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a great game, but it doesn't feel like anything new to the series. Sure, it is refreshing, And that is due to the limited amount of games in this genre. I mean, the only game to really look forward to play a game like this is Uncharted. Uncharted and Tomb Raider are the only games that I feel like fills this void of action adventure. They just do it right. I enjoy these games. There's no other game outside of Tomb Raider and Uncharted that does these types of games. So I will get another the next Tomb Raider if they do one, the next Uncharted by default, because there's not many options. So to me, it feels refreshing. Sure, not if you're Tomb Raidered out and you're sick of these games. Yeah, you're not going to feel like anything new. You're probably going to be put off a bit for the lack of the combat and the slowed down pace. But if you're a fan of that stuff, you're going to love this game. I truly admire the Tomb Raider series, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider's stealthy exploration approach was a nice welcome. Graphics are beautiful, the challenge tombs were intriguing and challenging, and the exploration and collectibles were fun to tackle. I enjoyed my time with this game, and I hope and pray this isn't the last game we get in a Tomb Raider series. I highly recommend this pickup. 8.5 out of 10. So there you have it. That's my review. I have to recommend it. I know a lot of people were put off by this game, and I think it's due to the heavy exploration aspect and the lack of combat. Sure, the combat is limited, but I don't think it's a low point of the game. I feel like they did such a good job creating the game, the world of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and all the challenge tombs and exploration places to go. I felt like they did a good job making the game explorable, and the combat, even though it's there, they don't put you in shitty situations where I feel like all the combat situations that I came across were all enjoyable. And when I finally got there, I just embraced it and enjoyed the experience. But Shadow of the Tomb Raider, where does it rank? I don't think Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the worst game in the Tomb Raider series. However, it's not my favorite in the Tomb Raider series, probably my second favorite. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And yes, I highly recommend this game. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider should not be in your backlog, especially in the month of September. Peace, guys.